So I'm gonna try some backwards engineering here.
It works. Well, hey folks, welcome back to my channel. I'm Handy Matt, and today, you can't hear it, it's raining again in southern Texas. Yeah, like we haven't already had enough. Yeah, it's raining again. Anyway, today's video, we are going to fix the dashboard, get that all sorted out for the tractor. Yes, that's the dashboard for a 1946 Farmall B. And we're going to get everything installed on it. The keyed switch, the 3 switches, and plus 1 extra for the lights, and get the amp meter in there, get all the wires hooked up to it, get them all tidied up on the back, and get it ready to install once it stops raining. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get things installed. Time to get started. All right. Here we go. We need to make 4 holes across here for all the switches. Yes, I'm using blue ones, but that's just me. And then I gotta make 1 hole down here for the ignition switch that is right here. All right, so 4 1/2-inch holes and then 1 3/4-inch hole down there. But I gotta put a little time and effort into getting them lined up. So I'm going to go off these screw holes here. They seem to be the most square. I'm just going to make a line. Alright. Now here's where I'm just going to basically kind of guess and make a good assumption of where they go off that line, make some marks, then we'll go drill some holes. I'm not going to try, I'm actually going to go out of my way here to get them lined up pretty evenly. That looks pretty decent. Now I'm just going to make sure that they're all lined up on this line I just drew. Double check to make sure these screw heads are going to fit. Yeah, that'll work. They're on the line now. Let's get them nice and even. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Close enough for the work I'm doing, actually, because this little dashboard I'm gonna completely redo later on. It's actually, I'm gonna make a custom one bigger that I can put a tachometer, water temp sensor, and I can move the oil pressure sensor up into here, plus the amp meter that's already here, etc. But right now, I'm just gonna make this work. So right now, it's basically gonna be set up headlight, 4-way flashers, work light, and then a spare, just in case I decide to add something on there. So I'm just gonna include it in there right now, and that should work. So I'm gonna put a little tiny mark right in the center of these holes. Then for the ignition switch, look at that. So we're gonna go right there. You must be getting more out. Oh no, it was unscrewed a little bit. Not where I want that. Yeah, that's exactly where I want that. Alright, we're going to go get set up in the drill press, and I'll drill some pilot holes, and I'll use one of my step bits to drill the holes out the right size. These ones need to be 1/2 inch, this one needs to be 3/4, and actually I could probably go 7/16 and 11/16. Yeah, that's what I think I'll do. And it'll work out pretty good. So off to the drill press we go. Alright, we're going to drill our pilot holes first. This thing's got a laser on it. Pretty cool. How are you stuck on there? Oh, that's not good. Gotta tighten you back up a little bit tighter than before.
Next part, do not do this at home, boys and girls. It's a little bit sketchy. So I don't have anything good to really hold this, so I'm actually going to freehand this step bit. And yeah, don't do this at home. I should mark the 1/2 inch real quick. Alright, so I got it marked with a Sharpie there so I know not to go past that mark. I got my drill on the slowest speed, and I'm just going to hold it like this, and I'm going to come up into it, and if it grabs it I can just go like that. That's why I'm saying don't do this at home, because I don't have a vise that will hold this properly. So here we go. Maybe I gotta hold it different, I don't know. Raining again. That's not working. I need the vise. Stop short of a 1/2 inch to see if it'll fit. And it does not, so we got to go all the way to 1/2 inch. Yep, that fits. We'll have to run it backwards on it to deburr it. Grain does not want to let up. This bit is really dull. Yep. I'm changing the bit out. wandered a little bit, so they're not going to be in a perfect straight line. Bummer. Perfect. Next one, please don't wander. Perfect. I just dropped my switch behind there. Looks the same as the others, so let's do the 3/4 for the heat switch. Look at that scarf is scraping the paint off. Goodness. Well, aside from needing another paint job, I just gotta clean the burrs up and we're ready to go. Okay, we're back here at the bench. I got all the burrs cleaned up. We're not really too happy with how these came out. I probably should have just taken my 2-step bits and thrown them in the trash and bought a new one, because it made it wander a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's going to be fine, because I'm going to build a brand new dash for it later on, like I mentioned before. That's got everything. It's got the amp meter, the tachometer, the water temperature, the oil pressure, all the switches, the key, and everything. So right now this is going to work just fine. So we just got to put it together. So I got my 3 switches are already wired up, and they got to go with this tab going down. Let's see. We'll go that direction. For this, I'm going to screw the bottom nut all the way to the bottom. Goes through there. And then you take the switch cover, which also doubles as a, you can flick it down and turn the switch off really easy. And we'll put this nut on here. It'll start. I'll just kind of get these snugged up, and then once they're all in here, I'll straighten them out and get them tightened up. Oh, gotta get this nut off here. Yes, I'm using blue because it's a nice contrast to the red. Yes, I know all the International Harvester folks out there are going to hate on me because I'm not using red, but I kind of like it, so I'm going with it.
Somebody's dog is running around out there. Oh, hush. Go home. I'm going to get these lined up and snugged up, and then I'll throw in the spare switch. Pretty straight. Get the next one sorted out here. Just make them straight that way, even though the holes I drilled are not crooked. Alright. Not bad, even though they're not lined up the way I wanted it to be. Alright, we'll put the spare switch in there just in case I need it. Yeah, you can see Not perfectly straight, but it'll work. Alright, so I think the next thing I'll put is an amp meter. So I went and got these little rubber washers, and it's because the plastic washers on here, let me get those lock washers off there. These plastic washers that are insulators between the metal frame here and the post deteriorated a bunch, like actually a lot. So when I put this on here, I'm going to use these rubber washers. Come back here. And I got plenty of nuts so I can double stack them. Let me get the second one out of here. So I think there's plenty of insulation there, but I'm gonna replace these two little pieces here that broke off with these rubber washers. These are like for sinks or something. That's where I got them out of the plumbing aisle in Ace Hardware. Anyway, they're gonna work. So there's the amp meter. There, let's put these rubber washers on just as extra insulators, and we'll put, come back here, we'll put one nut on each and tighten them down really good, and then I can start attaching wires. Well, I gotta put the ignition on-off switch in first. And that should probably be close enough right there. That's how she's looking so far. And then these are all just grounding tabs here, and these two are in the way of the ignition switch that's going in there, so I'm just going to bend them over. And put them up here out of the way. They'll still be there if I need them later. Okay. Alright, put these nuts, washers off to the side. I'll need those in a little bit. Here is the ignition switch. Take the wires off for right now. There's the key. Let's see, should I go this side up or this side up? I don't know. I don't think it really matters too much. I'll just pick one and I'll go with whatever it comes out to be. screwing anything up. I think I need to lower that vacuum nut just a little bit. Oh, there's only so far this one can screw on, so I gotta go the other way. That dog is still running around out there. It was downpouring rain earlier and he was just going wild. That looks fairly straight. Alright, ignition is in. I can still operate all my switches. Put the key in there. Alright, cool. Alright, so on the back side, this needs to go on here. This wire needs to go on here as well. This goes over to the ignition. I've got to bend these things to fit them in the box later, but it is what it is. So, put a nut on here. Okay. I think there's one more that needs to go on here. And it would be the wire coming from the alternator. I got an extra nut, so there's only one wire going to that side, so go ahead and get this one tightened down. Now the wire that's going from here is going to the battery to charge it, and I'm going to get a piece of it out of the end of this one, so I don't have to buy any more wire. But this one is coming from the alternator. So I'll put that wire out later once I trim it off the end of this particular wire. And we'll put the nut on here so we don't lose it. Matter of fact, I'll put all the washers too, just in case I need them. I don't lose them. Alright, so we got 12-volt wire coming here from the alternator. It's also the batteries feeding into it as well. But I got power going to my lights. I got power going to my ignition coil, passing through this switch. And this long wire right here goes to the distributor. Alright, you can't run your engine if you don't have power going to your ignition coil, so that's where the switch comes into play. Then we have, how was I going to do this? Okay, I was going to go headlights, hazards, and work lights. So hazards go right here. Got the little switch, and this will end up getting tucked up into here somewhere, wherever it'll fit inside that box. Here's a short wire right here. This goes to the work light. Put that on there. These wires are all tangled up on me. Alright, so here's the double wires that go to the hazards. Those go on there. And then this last long wire I got over here that is hopelessly tangled up, as bad as Christmas lights, goes on this switch right here for the headlights. And then I got to figure out how to get all this stuff all tied up, zip tied in such a way to where I can tuck it inside the box, and it all comes out the bottom around here and feeds off to everything it needs to feed. So that's going to be in the next video though. But that right there, that's the dash for a 1946 Farmall B tractor. Doesn't look too bad, does it? I like how the blue accents the red, even though all the red tractor guys are gonna hate on me for it. But I don't care, it's my tractor, it's not theirs. So, anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Best way to support this channel, hit the share button, join button if you feel like it. Hey, I've got it set at the lowest amount that YouTube will allow me to. I tried to set it at 25 cents a month, and they're like, nope, $1.99, that's it, that's the lowest we'll do it. But anyway, if you feel like doing that, that'd be great, that'd be awesome, I'd appreciate it. Don't forget, subscribe, like, and comment. I'll see you guys on the next video. Laters.